Welcome, friends, to this series of learning containers and Kubernetes. So, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, we will recommend you to subscribe to this channel so that you will get notified when the new videos will be released. Now, in the last couple of lectures, we learned about Docker containers, how to run Docker containers, and also we learned what exactly the Docker Hub is and how we can pull the images from the Docker Hub. But in this particular lecture, we are going to build a Docker image from the Dockerfile. So let's get started. So if you see the Docker architecture, whatever we have done so far, we communicated with the Docker Hub and we had the Docker client which actually pulls the images from the Docker Hub, and with the help of Docker daemon, we use that particular image to spin the containers. We pull the images in our local system, and no matter how many images we can pull, those are actually stored in our local storage. And then, with the help of those local images, we ran the containers. And we also went inside the container and customized, and we tried to build our application for the business need. Now, here we are going to learn how we can use the Dockerfile, which is basically a file that will write everything, how the custom Docker image will behave, and how this custom Docker image can be built based upon the configurations that we write in the Dockerfile. It's not only the configuration, we also write the different instruction to build the actual Docker image. Now, once this particular Docker image is actually built, we will try to run the container with that Docker image. So instead of pulling the Docker image directly from the Docker Hub or some other Docker registry, we will build our own Docker image from the Dockerfile that we are going to build. And then with the help of that Docker image, we will spin our own containers. Now let's jump to the console. And in the last couple of lectures, we saw how we ran the containers through the images pulled from the Docker Hub. We till now pulled Nginx, Python, and MySQL Docker images from the Docker Hub. And we used Docker pull and Docker run directly to pull the images from the Docker Hub. Now, instead of doing this Docker pull or Docker run, we are going to write a file named Dockerfile. And in this Dockerfile, we will say from Python, which is basically the official image of Python, we are going to use the same name, and we will close this file. It is pretty simple. We are actually wrote only one line from Python. Now, what exactly this from means? Now, from must be the most first non-comment instruction in the Dockerfile. So it can be from image, just like we have written like from Python, or it can be the image and then colon tag, which is the latest tag by default if you don't specify anything, or it can be the digest. So this from should be ideally the first line in any Dockerfile. Now, you can keep argument commands before the form, but I just said it's typically we start with from. Now, this from can appear multiple times within a single Docker file in order to create multiple images. Simply make a note of the last image ID output by the commit before each new from command. I will come to this point a little later. Before I will try to show you how this Docker file can be used to build the container. Now, if I go back to this previous site, we will see after writing this Docker file, we need to build the Docker image from this Docker file. So let's jump to the console once again, and we say Docker build, and then we can give some name of this particular image. Let's say we can give my Python, which is the my Python image that is going to be built with the help of Dockerfile. Now, if we name the file of this Dockerfile as Dockerfile, then actually we no need to specify the file name. Otherwise, it's the best practice to keep the Dockerfile name as specified with -f command. And we need to provide dot, which is basically representing the current Docker file is in the current directory. If we do so, see, it's just started to build the Docker image with this Docker file, which is containing only one line that is from Python. Now it is saying that it is finished. Now let's see what are the images we have right now. So we can see I am having my Python image along with the Python. So basically my Python is nothing but the actual copy of this Python Docker image that we directly pulled from Docker Hub. Now, this time we just created the same thing, but through Dockerfile. We can see the size of this particular image is exactly same that we directly pulled from Docker Hub. So now, if we try to run the container from the MyPython image, we will use the same run command that we used earlier. There is no difference between that. So we can give a name if you want, or we can simply ignore and we can say our image. Now we can see whether there is any running container is running or not. We definitely can't see because the Python app just got died, but that doesn't matter. We can check the -a command and we can see that my Python image actually used to spin up a new container, which is called Amazon Keller. And this particular container used my Python image that we just now built. So that's all in this lecture, friends. Thanks for watching this video. And in the upcoming lecture, we will see how we can use different commands in the Dockerfile and how we can build the complex things in Dockerfile. And we will see, other than from, what are the essential and non-essential things can be put in Dockerfile. Also, we will learn what exactly the layers in Dockerfile and how we can minimize our effort and maximize the productivity with the Dockerfile engineering. Thanks for watching this video. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so, and we will see you in the next lecture. Thank you and bye.